Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Foot Forecast. In today's video, I'm going to be going for my Premier League predictions for Game Week 34, as well as my FA Cup predictions for the semi-finals. And because of the FA Cup, we're actually halfway through this game week already. So I'm going to start off the first game, which I'm going to discuss, which is between Sunderland and Forest, which is on the Friday night. And Sunderland going into this game, they've still got Europe to play for. They're currently 11th place in the league, but they're only a couple of points behind Chelsea in 7th place. For Forest, it's all about surviving in the Premier League, and they're currently 5 points above the relegation zone. In terms of how they've been playing recently, Forest have looked good in all competitions. They've won 3 and drawn 2, including an impressive win in their last game against Burnley, winning 4-1. Looking at Sunderland, Sunderland have won 2 out of their last 5 games, but they did lose the other 3. For this game, I think these two sides are quite evenly matched, and Sunderland are a difficult side to beat at home, so I'm thinking potentially a draw for this game. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw between Sunderland and Forest to kick it off. So then I'm on to the next game, which is between Fulham and Aston Villa. Aston Villa are still competing to get into the Champions League next season, which they should do. And for Fulham, they're looking to get into Europe. Fulham are currently 12th place in the Premier League, so there is still a chance they could get in. In terms of the recent form of the two sides, for Fulham, it's not great. They've only had 1 win in their last 5, and that was against Burnley. And recently, they've struggled to put the ball in the back in there. In their last 5 games in all competitions, 4 of them they've failed to score. So it could be difficult for Fulham in this game against Aston Villa. Looking at Aston Villa, they've started to pick it up recently. In their last game, they won 4-3 against Sunderland, and before that, they won 4-0 against Bologna. So there is goals in this Aston Villa side, and actually, they also won 3-1 away in Bologna. So they're putting the ball in the back of the net right now, and I think I'm going to go with an Aston Villa win away from home in this game. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Villa and Ollie Watkins to score. I've been impressed with Ollie Watkins recently. I think Fulham's troubles in front of goal is going to continue. So then on to the next game, which is between Liverpool and Palace. Liverpool right now are fighting for Champions League football, and it looks like they should finish in that top 5. For Crystal Palace, they're currently 13th place in the Premier League. There is still a chance of European football through the league for Crystal Palace, but most likely it's going to come through the Europa Conference League. Looking at the recent form of the two sides, Liverpool haven't been in great form with only 2 wins in their last 5 in all competitions, but they have won their last 2 Premier League games in a row, which has been a rare occurrence for Liverpool this season. And they won those 2 games away at Everton in the last minutes and against Fulham. The Fulham win was quite convincing for Liverpool, but there are injury concerns for Liverpool going into this game. Mamadashvili is out, and Alisson is also potentially out. There's a chance he is available, but right now it does look like Freddie Woodman will be in goal for this game. So that is definitely a problem for Liverpool, despite a decent performance when he came on in the Merseyside derby. In terms of other injury concerns, Bradley and Gomez are out, as well as Hugo Ekitike, which is a big one for Liverpool. Looking at Palace, their focus has been in Europe, but in their last couple of Premier League games, they've been quite good. They picked up 4 points in their last 2 games, including a 0-0 draw against West Ham, which I felt they were the better side in, and then a 2-1 win against Newcastle United, which was also deserved. I think for this game, I'm going to go with the Liverpool win, but I'm not that confident. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Liverpool over Crystal Palace. The reason why I'm not confident is because of Glasner's record against Arne Slot recently. In the last 3 games, Glasner has won all 3, so that is a real concern. That is in all competitions. But Adam Wharton is out for Palace going into this game, which is a big injury for them. So then I'm on to the next game, which is between West Ham and Everton, and it's a return for David Moyes at the London Stadium. Looking at how the two sides have been this season, West Ham are currently fighting relegation in 17th place, and Everton are 10th place in the league, looking to get into Europe. And right now, Everton actually look quite likely to get in, but they have just had a bad result against Liverpool at home in the Merseyside derby. But before this, they have had some good results against the likes of Chelsea and Burnley. And Everton away from home this season have actually been a very good side. They rank 5th place on the away table, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if Everton do take all 3 points in this game. But a concern for them is Jarrad Braithwaite. Jarrad Braithwaite is out injured for this game. Looking at West Ham United, what West Ham have been good at recently is just avoiding defeat. In their last 4 games, they've only lost 1, including a win against Wolves, winning 4-0. I think this game is going to be really tight, and I'm actually going to go with a 0-0 draw between these two sides. I just can't separate them, and these are two sides with strong defences right now. If this game is to be won, I wouldn't be surprised if it does come from a set piece. If not that, I would say a sort of a sudden moment of quality from either side or a big mistake. So I'm on to a massive game which is between Wolves and Spurs, and of course Wolves have been relegated to the Championship, but why is this so important? Well, Spurs must win this game. This is an absolute must win for them against this Wolves side. And if they don't win this, I just can't see them staying up at all. Looking at sort of how the two sides have been playing recently, Wolves have been poor in their last couple of games. They were terrible against Leeds and they were terrible against West Ham. Before that, it looked like they were starting to pick up some form, but that has disappeared pretty quickly. In terms of some injury concerns for Wolves, Bentley could still be playing in goal for this one, as Sarr and Johnson are potentially still out injured. Looking at Spurs' recent form is just as bad. They haven't won since 2026, but I thought in that Brighton game there are at least some signs that Spurs are starting to show some fight, and I do think they get their first win of 2026 in the Premier League and a crucial 3 points. I'm going to go with a 2-1 away win for Spurs in this game. I think it's going to be nervy at points, but I think they're going to have enough quality up against this Wolves side, because at the end of the day, Wolves are just shocking, and they're not sort of playing as well as they were a couple of weeks ago. So then on to the next game, which is between Arsenal and Newcastle United, another big game, and I could see Arsenal potentially slipping up in this game, as everybody knows because it's been published so much. Arsenal have a terrible win record in April, and that trend is continuing. In all competitions, they've only won 1 game in the last 5, and that was against Sporting, and I thought they were terrible in that game. They've had some really disappointing results against Southampton in the Cup, against City in the Cup final, against Bournemouth at home, against Sporting at home in the second leg. But I actually thought they were alright in the loss to Manchester City. It's still not a good enough result, but at least there was some signs that Arsenal was starting to improve and play well. And they are going up against a Newcastle side who are just crap. It's that simple. In their last 3 games, they've lost all 3, and that's against Sunderland, Crystal Palace and Bournemouth. And for this reason, I do think Arsenal do win this game against Newcastle United. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Arsenal in this game. If I was Newcastle going into this, I'd go with a game plan to press Arsenal, sort of what Bournemouth were looking to do, what Manchester City have looked to do in that cup final, because I think Newcastle have players to do this. But I just think Arsenal are going to have too much quality for this Newcastle side. Newcastle are nowhere near where they need to be right now, and Livramento and Gordon are potentially out for them in this game. So then on to the final game, which is between Manchester United and Brentford. And going into this game, Manchester United should easily qualify for the Champions League by the end of the season. And for Brentford, it's about fighting for European places. And it would be great to see Brentford in Europe, a new side in Europe. But also it'd be quite incredible considering sort of the players they lost at the start of the season, which just shows the work that Keith Andrews and the higher-ups have done at Brentford this season. In terms of the recent form of Brentford, it is concerning. In their last 4 games, they've drawn all 4, drawing 0-0 twice and 2-2 twice. So they're clearly a difficult side to beat, but it's about converting those draws into wins. Looking at Manchester United's recent form, it is mixed. They've been poor in some games. For the Leeds game, they were terrible. The Newcastle United game, they were nowhere near good enough, so they had 2 losses. But then they've also picked up a couple of wins, and they've had a draw against Bournemouth. A result I would like to highlight is that recent Chelsea game, because they weren't at their best, and they were a bit lucky, but it was still a really impressive result, considering the fact that Manchester United had 4 centre-halves going to this game. For this game, it looks like they're going to have 3 centre-halves out. That's going to be Martinez, Yoro and Matheus de Ligt. And I think that is a concern, considering they're going up against Igor Thiago, who's the second highest goal scorer in the Premier League this season. And for that reason, I think Brentford will nick a point against Manchester United. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw between these two sides. It follows Brentford's recent trends, and I don't think United are at their best right now. As well as this, they've got those injury concerns at centre-half, and Brian Mbeumo is also potentially injured for this game. So now I'm going to be discussing the FA Cup semi-finals, and I'm going to start off with Manchester City at home to Southampton. And on paper, this should be a simple win for Manchester City because they're definitely the favourites going into this game. They're a division above Southampton. But if you look at Southampton recently, they've been outstanding in the Championship. And if you look back, they haven't lost since the 18th of January, 3 months ago, and they've actually put a push for top 2. It has been harmed by their recent result at home to Bristol City, but Southampton have been excellent under the new manager. But they are going up a different beast in Manchester City. In saying this though, Southampton did win against Arsenal in the quarterfinal and Fulham in the round of 16. So they've got the ability to knock out Premier League opposition, and I would love to see Southampton in this final, but I just can't see it. I just think City at the end of the day are just going to have too much quality. I think Southampton are going to give it a decent go, but I think Manchester City do win this game. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win for City over Southampton. City have been looking really good recently. They've had some really good results against Arsenal in the Cup final, then Arsenal in the league, then they also won against Liverpool and Chelsea. And I just think at the end of the day, Saints won't have enough quality. I think if I was a Saints fan, where my hope would be the potential that Manchester City decide to rest quite a few of the players for this game, because it's a cup game and they may prioritise the league, but I don't really see this happening because City don't have to worry about Champions League football. So then on to the semi-final, and it's between Chelsea and Leeds. This one's a lot more interesting for me. I could see an upset here. And why? Well, if you look at Chelsea's recent form, it is absolutely shocking. They're a terrible side and they just can't put the ball in the back of the net. They haven't scored in 4 games in the league and they have conceded 14 goals. It's absolutely shocking, and I could really see an upset in this game up against Leeds United, because Leeds United will 100% make it difficult. They'll be up for this game because they also now don't really have to worry about Premier League safety. So I expect Leeds United to throw everything at this, and they haven't been in an FA Cup semi-final for a long time. As well as this, their recent form looks good. They picked up 2 wins in their last 2 games, away at United, which was a massive result, and then at home to Wolves. They've also had some other decent games where they've had some 0-0 draws, showing Leeds have the ability to keep Chelsea out. And with Chelsea's inability to put the ball in the back of the net right now, that for me shows that Chelsea are going to struggle to score in this game. Looking at some concerns for both sides going into this, well, Anton Stach is out for Leeds United, which is a massive injury. But then you start to look at Chelsea's injury list, and it is a real problem. João Pedro potentially out, Reece James potentially out, Colwill is out, Palmer potentially out, Esteval is out. Those are 5 key players for Chelsea, all out for this game. And if they're all injured, Chelsea are in real trouble. I think they're in real trouble either way. And for this reason, I'm going to be going with the Leeds United win against Chelsea. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw after 90 minutes. So I think Chelsea do manage to score a goal, but then in extra time, I think they concede a second, and Leeds United will go through 2-1 to the cup final against Manchester City. And who do I see winning out in Manchester City and Leeds? Unfortunately, I see City winning. I love to see Leeds do it, but I can really only see one winner for that game. But I'm really rooting for Leeds and Southampton. I would love a Leeds Southampton final, but that does seem unlikely. So that is the end of this video. Let me know your FA Cup and Premier League predictions in the comments, and I will reply to them with my thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, it'd be great if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as liking the video.